and everybody was getting on the buses. And I'm like, I wonder how far the walk back to the hotel is. And an older gentleman next to me goes, I think it's about 15 minutes. He goes, you want to walk back with me? I'm like, sure, that sounds great. And it was former Mayor Bill Purcell. And I asked him, it's like, do people in Nashville really understand how special it is that we have a metro county and not tons of little cities that fight with each other? And he goes, the business community does. And to me, that's knowing people and connecting with people is how communities are formed.
Welcome to The Decision from Nashville EO, where you will hear the rest of the story after tough decisions were made by entrepreneurs who faced adversity and lived to tell about it.
Hi, welcome. I'm Robert Hartline with The Decision, EO Nashville's podcast for entrepreneurs here in Nashville, Tennessee, who have made important decisions in their lives and their business. Today, we have Jay Graves with StyleBlueprint. Welcome.
Hey, man, good to be back.
Good to have you. Now, I don't have Eric Jackson here to do my intros. So
I know. What do we do without Eric? This is, it feels like an empty room.
Oh, no, we're going to fill it up quick.
Okay.
His spirit is here.
Absolutely. I feel it floating right over there.
Yeah. So about a year ago, we got to spend some time together and got to know each other more from some powerful stories and how you have grown your business. And now that you're moving into this leadership role as president of EO, I wanted to bring you back and kind of get you to share some of your vision here. But before we go further, tell us your EO story, how you got in.
I will do that. I would like to say, I think we should make this an annual tradition that the new president has to sit down and be interviewed here. Yes. I think that's fantastic. So I'm setting up Bill McCluskey for that next year. So, yes. So you already have a guest for next May. So let's see. Let's go back. I've got a couple different ones, but I am really... First of all, I'm grateful for EO. Like, EO has been something in my life that I found incredibly valuable, but I almost valued it more when I missed it. And so I actually joined in the early 2000s when it was called YEO. And we've since dropped it was a Young Entrepreneurs Organization, for those of you that don't know. We've since dropped the Y because we've all gotten old. It used to be that you had to drop out at 40 and you couldn't be an EO member anymore at 40. Well, all of us kept growing our business and we were like, well, we kind of like each other, so we're going to do that. But I co-founded a business that started as a direct mail business, turned into a software business. And in 2005, we sold it to a public company and I was like, great, I guess I'm not an entrepreneur anymore. I'm an employee. And so this is, I don't know if I fit anymore in this. So I actually dropped out and then proceeded to run a 3 to 4 year experiment to see if I could be an employee and failed miserably at it. I just turned out that wasn't really in the cards for me. And then got part of the band back together from our old software company. And we turned around and did it again. And we grew another company. It was a slog. And then in 2015 and 16 went through a sale process. And it was with 6 other partners. And you can imagine how well that went. Mm. And through this, I had no support system at all and kind of forgotten that it was available. Like I had no forum. It was a hard process. Part of it was just, all transactions are hard processes no matter how you do it. Part of it, I made it a hard process. Part of it was other people made it a hard process. I mean, whatever that was, it almost doesn't matter. But when it was done, it just gutted me. I mean, it was, and then I turned around and I was an employee again for 3 years, which I'll get to in just a minute. And then, about that time, I can't remember, but it was a little bit before that. My wife, Liza, who you know, joined EO. And she got this amazing forum. They were awesome people. And then they have their forum meetings on Friday afternoons. And I got invited to go out to dinner with them and have drinks with everybody after their forum. I was like, well, this is fun. I kind of became like a mascot. Like they would like, hey, you can, bring Jay. And, and I just enjoyed it immensely. And then it clicked with me, like, why am I not a member? Like, why did I let go of this? Yeah. Like, and, applied, got readmitted, got a forum. We're still together. And it's been phenomenal. Then, for that second business, about 3 years into it, my wife pulled me aside and went, number one, you were miserable. I was working for the private equity company that bought us. Number two, you're kind of miserable to be around. And number three, your youngest child is going to graduate from high school and you're still living on an airplane. Why? And so why don't you come work with me? And so she hired me, and that was 4.5 years ago. And I'm now working with her at StyleBlueprint. Best boss I ever had. I just want that to go on the record.
Well, that's a really great episode for being in partnership with your, not only your company, but with your spouse. Like that's not an easy thing to navigate. People really struggle with
and
that.
A plug for Gestalt mindset, forum mindset, like it allows us to have conversations in a way that we couldn't independently as well. Like she's got her forum, I've got my forum. We can all talk about things. We look at businesses from a different perspective. She's a creative force. I'm a tech and ops guy, but together it's been really fantastic. And through that, I give EO a huge amount of credit for that. And I give, and also in terms of just how did I end up sitting here with you? Like I volunteered to be on the board. I was a house chair for, a group of forums and, enjoyed that. And then served 2 years in finance and enjoyed that. And then did a year with technology and enjoyed that. And then was, recruited, however it would be to do the presidency role which is really for anyone that cares. And I'm not saying that anyone, it's EO president pays just as well as being a member pays, which is zero. It's a chance to give back to an organization that meant a lot to me. And for when you're on that kind of path of leadership, there's the year before you're president, there's a year you're president, which I'm starting now, and then there's the year after you're president, and you serve a role on the board as both incoming, current, and past president. And there's roles for that. And we're a volunteer-led organization. I mean, we have the best staff in the country when it comes to EO. And I'm, this is not just a plug for them publicly. I mean, they are a joy to work with. But there is a lot of things that, we do as members that we do for each other. And I just think it's been a great personal journey for me. It's, everybody's a volunteer. Nobody gets paid. You can't tell anybody what to do. You have to lead from experience. You have to convince. You have to, leading leaders. As I joke,
different skill set.
Oh, we're a bunch of squirrel-brained entrepreneurs. Yeah. I say it regularly. We get bright and shiny objects distract us easily. Yeah. And we have to believe when we're doing these roles with an EO, we have to believe in what we're doing. And we do it from our heart and we do it voluntarily. We don't do it because we're told.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun. It's a good group of people.
How come do you think Nashville became the largest chapter in the United States?
It's awesome it's a question that, first of all, doesn't matter. Like, I just want to, I love EO. Like, there is no competition I don't think anyone has any great or of like, oh, we got to be the biggest. I think it happened for a couple reasons, and I'm kind of going to go off the cuff. One of which is we've had some continuity and permanent leadership within this. First, we had some great leaders who started this out. Eric, I'm sorry he's not here. Eric was one of the people that really helped grow that. We had some of the original, we call them OGs in EO that provided a great foundation for this. And then Samira Lowe, our executive director, has been here 19 years, going on 20. That's pretty powerful to have that connective thread all the way through the history of the organization. And I think part of it's Nashville. I think this has been an incredibly dynamic, welcoming community for entrepreneurs. And we have benefited from simply where we are. Yeah. That's not luck, but that is something that I think we all need to be grateful that we live in the city that we live in.
Yeah. And I think, you said a lot of it with our team that is helping support us when a new president comes along. There isn't like a lot of like rebuilding the whole thing.
No.
It's like there's a lot of consistency and stability in that, just keeping the steady pace.
And in fact, there used to be an EO core value, and I believe it was called make your mark or leave your legacy. I can't remember what it was. It was before I started looking at any of this stuff. That has been retired. And it has been retired not because it's not a lofty goal and that each of us want to have a legacy and each of us want to do something great. It resulted in EO presidents that came in every year and wanted to do something epic and grand that could possibly, and often did, change directions that the organization was going in.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're here for.
Yeah.
We're here for our members, and we're here to, and you'll hear me say this a lot. I mean, we're here for the ROI of our members. And, some of those things, that doesn't mean you don't do big initiatives and great efforts, but those things need to be thought out. And that's why we have what's called a strategic council, which is a group of people that meet multiple times per year, that have a multi-year membership, that also provide some of that connective tissue, through time, that talk about bigger issues and talk about bigger things and do things like put a 3-year strategic plan together, which I was going to talk to you about today.
Yeah, let's dive into that. But first, like, from your words, what is your vision for your tenure?
So I'm going to start with a story. I am this is the first time this has been available to EO, but this year, the incoming president got to go on the Nashville Chamber of Commerce it's called the Leadership Study Mission. And every year they put together a trip. I think it's about 150 people that they travel. This group of people that are a mix of local leaders, elected officials, nonprofit leaders, business leaders, go to another city and learn how that city works in comparison to how Nashville works. And this year, I got to go, and it was a trip to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is a fascinating city. I love Charlotte. There are some people that I knew. I mean, it was great to see Nancy Stabell and Colton, and our new member, Buddy Teaster, was there. So there were 4 EO members on this trip. There were tons of people that most of my business was not in Nashville. The last 7 or 8 years has been me. One of the reasons I love EO is I got to connect to my city because a lot of times I was on an airplane to other places. And so we went to Charlotte, and it was really, really interesting. And one of the breakout groups was on entrepreneurship, and got to talk to many people about how they do entrepreneurship. And one of the things that their equivalent of Sam Davidson at the Entrepreneur Center was talking about, they sat around and mapped an ecosystem of who all supports entrepreneurs in a town. And they came up with 42 in Charlotte, which is crazy. And, we're part of that ecosystem in Nashville. And we are only now beginning to engage more with the Middle Tennessee entrepreneurial community. And as I was sitting down and thinking about, hey, what do I want to get done this year? The first thing that came to my mind was EO has been so helpful for me and for Liza, personally, but it's been great for our business. It's been great personally. It's been great for our family. And I also think it can be great for our community. And our community is not just the EO community, but really Middle Tennessee business owners. So my vision for this year is to help communicate all four of those areas, as well as to begin some outreach to that local community. Like, how can we better engage with the other business, other groups that support businesses, and there's I'm not saying there's an ulterior motive to this, but the more that we engage with those other groups, the more people are going to get to know EO. Because one quick story, because I enjoyed this so much. When we went to Charlotte, we finished one of the roundtable things, and it was, the whole big group. And they took us out of the baseball stadium in downtown Charlotte, and everybody was getting on the buses. And I'm like, wonder how far the walk back to the hotel is. And an older gentleman next to me goes, I think it's about 15 minutes. He goes, you want to walk back with me? I'm like, sure, that sounds great. And it was former Mayor Bill Purcell.
Oh, wow.
And it was just him and me for 15 minutes walking back.
Wow.
To the hotel. And I asked him, it's like, do people in Nashville really understand how special it is that we have a metro county and not tons of little cities that fight with each other, like near where I grew up near Birmingham, Alabama? And he goes, the business community does. And do you know how that happened? I was like, no. He goes, and I think it was in the 30s. And forgive me, because I know this is going to be public, and if I get this wrong, the Work Projects Administration offered to build Nashville a new courthouse. And there was a clause that said, we'll build you a courthouse, but only if the city officials and the county officials will work in the same building that we built for you. So for 30 years, they had to work with each other before there was ever a movement to combine the county and the city government into one thing together. They knew each other. They broke bread at lunch. They parked in the same parking lot. They all went into the same building. And to me, first of all, that's a cool story. It's a piece of our city history that I didn't know, and I doubt many other people know. And it was fun to talk to Mayor Purcell about this. But knowing people and connecting with people is how communities are formed.
That when you're telling that story, I'm thinking the EC.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about all those entrepreneurs that maybe they come from LA, they come here, they decide to start a business or move their business, and they're in the trenches and they're literally have blinders on. Like I had blinders on for probably 13 years. I was just like, all into doing the business and just trying to survive and having no community. It was work, home, maybe a vacation, but that was my life. And kind of what you're kind of getting to is like, we need to bring them together into a spot and go, wait a minute, dude, where you going?
Yeah. And hey, here's my vision for this year. I don't know what's going to come from it, but let's all talk. Let's just literally, let's get in a room a couple times a year, talk. Let's try to map this thing out. Let's try to figure out who does what. Let's see who we can help. And you know what? If we help a bunch of people, they're going to help us. I was also shocked to learn that out of that group of 150 people that are community leaders, not many of them knew EO's story. Not many of them
of EO.
Yeah,
I talk to random people all the time. I'm with you.
They didn't know that we're the largest chapter in the country and the third largest in the world. And the ones that did know of us, I mean, there were many like, yeah, I've heard of you. I hear good stuff about that organization, but they didn't realize that it's over 7,000 jobs and $4 billion worth of economic impact in Middle Tennessee. See, I got my talking points down.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's, and that's not trying to flex. That's just trying to have a seat at the table, to be able to people to know us and to be able to our job is to help entrepreneurs. But there are other organizations whose jobs are to do that. And hey, we're not for everybody. And there's lots of people that, there is already agreement. I don't know how many people know this, that we refer businesses that, aren't necessarily ready for Catalyst to the Entrepreneur Center's in-flight program. And the Entrepreneur Center recommends a lot of in-flight businesses to Catalyst. And Catalyst has been one of the greatest things that, for this entire organization, for providing growth, for providing diversity, for providing lots of things that this organization needs. We should have those kind of relationships with tons of other people too.
And I want to point out too, another thing I don't think people really grasp when you have a network of entrepreneurs that we have here, when they get into this network and start to do business with each other, the money is coming to Nashville.
Yes.
Now, if you're an entrepreneur in Nashville and you're seeking some business or service, really challenge you to really think about, where does that money go? And it can go right back into the community that will help you come right back to your pocket.
It's measuring economic impact was a conversation that I just had earlier this morning. It's a very nebulous thing to do, but you know what? If you do more of it, it seems, if you do more business locally, then it seems to help a lot more people in your own community. I mean, it sounds obvious.
I know. Yeah. It makes me wonder if we took all of the vendor lists, all the EO companies, and put those vendor lists in AI and said, all right, figure out, is there opportunities here? I bet you could find millions of dollars that could flow right into people's pockets, that would flow right into the city, support initiatives that the city wants to do. I mean, I think you're really on to something. So how does that navigate into the 3-year picture?
So it's interesting. So first of all, we have 4 values. And I mean, together we grow, trust and respect, thirst for learning, and think big, be bold. Those are the global values that we all, that as part of our organization by the way, part of the EO community is also the larger worldwide community of almost 20,000 entrepreneurs.
Tell me more about each one.
We often use the value that I think everybody loves, because I think it's one of the core things about EO is trust and respect. That's how 350 squirrel brained entrepreneurs in our city, we all are like, you know what? It's one of my favorite parts about EO is that how much we all respect each other, and we respect foreign mindset and how we all kind of help each other. And I'll go back to, you can look at that and together we grow. My favorite personally is thirst for learning. I love to learn new things. I think it's fantastic. I love any educational event where I can do it. I know that for those that, if you get around me and you're in EO for more than about 15 minutes, I'm going to start talking to you about Global Speakers Academy, which is, I think, the best program Global puts on, which is a 5-day intensive public speaking training course. My wife and I did it together. It was transformative for our business career and learned how to tell a better story. I loved it. It was fantastic. Liked it so much that suggested to our learning committee that wouldn't it be great if we brought the 2 professors, the 2 teachers for the Global Speakers Academy to Nashville for a 1-day public speaking learning event for this year. And they're coming in November.
Oh, that's great.
And I mean, that is, if I'm plugging for it, but that to me is, hey, I love that. That's my favorite value. And anybody who goes to that, I think it's going to be limited to 100 places. If you don't like it, you get your money back. I mean, man, these 2 guys are the best teachers in any subject that I've ever had. And they're coming, Eric and Eli are coming in November. And I think that'll be great. But also think big and be bold. Like, let's try new things. We would love as an organization to have a permanent home, an EO house, a place that we could call EO Nashville's own space to where we could go to. You know what? We've been trying to do that in a responsible financial way. We're going to keep trying that. We've run up against a couple different, because we want to make sure that we're not spending beyond our means. So we're trying to figure that out and do something great with that. So I think that's great. But there are a couple other things, and I brought a few cheats here. There are a few things that Global has added to this that I love. Like, our purpose is to move the world forward by unlocking the full potential of entrepreneurs. I don't have this memorized. I'm not that kind of guy, but you know what? I think that's great. We're here to support entrepreneurs. Our ambition is to enable transformational growth in our members' lives. Those are aspirational things, but I think it's good to keep in mind. There is, we are in year 2 of a 3-year strategic plan. That's, I don't expect most members to know that, because does it really matter in their daily lives? I don't think so. But the things that we do organization, I think it does matter. I think it does matter that we actually have, and we were one of the first chapters in the country to put together a multi-year strategic plan and to have a group of people, which is called the Strategic Council, that meet multiple times per year and just talk about the bigger things. So we went through I was part of the group that went through a strategic planning session several years ago, and kudos for Mike Rustici and some others that got that going. We had a professional moderator come in. Dr. J helped us put this plan together, and it's been great. I mean, and it's not, first part of it, goal number 1 doesn't sound super exciting. Operational efficiency. Like, that should be invisible. No one cares that hey, it should be easy to sign up and register for events on the website. Well, we've done a lot of work to do that.
Made a lot of progress on that.
I mean, it should be obvious that we should get text messages to remind people that, hey, your event is coming up. We should do that. We're in the process of revamping the payment process for dues to where you don't have to resubmit everything every year. Those are table stakes.
But it's also those things that any organization's having to navigate.
Yeah.
But you just got to put it on a piece of paper.
You got to put it on
a plan.
And you got to do it. You can't just talk about it. You got to make that part of, hey, every year we go back to this and go, are we doing these things? Yeah. And I think we've made some really big, our report cards, pretty good for that one. The second one is maximize the broadest possible ranges of experience we can leverage for learning and growth. Your bullet points underneath this is like, develop more of a connection with EO Global. For a while, EO Nashville and our brethren across the world weren't very well connected. And sorry. We've had a much better relationship, particularly with Dave Preston and the group in the Eastern region. And we've got Colton's a part of that Colton Mulligan's part of that group. Richard Moscadelli, who's my predecessor in this role, is joining the East region. These are super great people. We now have met multiple times with other super large chapters. The mega chapters, which sounds like ominous, like they're coming to get you, or the large 200 person plus chapters. We actually, for the first time ever last year, sat down in Fort Lauderdale and we all just talked about all the challenges that we're having, and everybody shared ideas for getting better and how we navigate how hard it is for, big chapters, for everybody to know each other and to maintain that sense of intimacy. Those are awesome things. And that wouldn't happen without a deeper connection to other chapters in the global. So we've worked on that. There's other parts of it that we're still working on. This year is, connecting with a wide array of organization and partners in Nashville entrepreneur ecosystem. We're just now really beginning to undertake that. So that's a great thing to keep in mind. The third one is transformational member experiences. We define member engagement. Member engagement is, there's so much stuff that you can do. There's a networking track. There's a leadership track. There is a learning track. There's a social track. So,
and here recently, the health track has been
it's fantastic,
totally game changer. I think about all the members who came to that all-day wellness event that shifted their mentality around their health because they sat in an all-day session. I mean, I'm hearing transformational stories about people getting tested and discovering things and solving things.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I've had more people in my forum. I was out of town that day, but I've had more people come back that actually took notes and distributed them to this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And part of this also is we're almost 350 people. How do we all know each other? So we put the one-to-one connection thing in place. And for people that aren't doing that, I got to tell you, that's one of my favorite things.
It is cool.
And I've met so many people that I won't say that I wouldn't have met, but I've gotten to know them and just an hour or two sit down. And it's been some of the favorite time that I spend every month. So these are all, tracking the stuff and providing some things and being able to course correct members that may not know what's going on inside of EO, because we do send a lot of email. We send a whole lot of email. But it's because we have a lot going on. So how do we streamline that communication? You responded to the chapter letter that's, by the way, that's on the checklist that every new president has to send out. And I jokingly at the top of it put a too long didn't read set of bullet points. And I was delighted that when we sat down for the annual board, planning retreat, that multiple people are like, hey, we should do that on everything. Like, we should have too long didn't read bullet points on the top of all this email, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on. It would be great if everybody read everything, but you know what? We all have businesses to run. So we're going to try some of that streamlining on communication this year. And then, we're trying to meet people where they are. We had our first event ever to where we brought 1 to 2 year members that are brand new with tenured members. And we had a dinner on Tuesday night, and we just told stories about the tenured members, about different parts of EO that had meant a lot to them personally and that people may not have known about. And it was fantastic. It was great. So lots of experimentation on that to try to bring that connectivity together and to have a more intimate feel between members.
So as the chief decision officer, really, when he comes down to it for this year, what do you think the big decision you're going to have to make?
Oh, that is a great question. The big decision that I'm going to have to make this year, I probably don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that, again, there's a 3-year track to this job. There's the incoming year, there's the year of doing this, and then the year after this. And Richard and I got to spend a lot of time together last year, and I'll be spending a lot of time with Bill McCleskey this year as the incoming president. And I learned a lot from Richard in that you don't know. You like, I've got this vision. I want people to be able to see the ROI that they put into the money that they pay for dues, but really the time The time is way more valuable than the money. I want them to be able to see that. I want there to be a series of programs that we're all working together to try to make sure that that's visible. But I don't know what it's going to be. And I will say this, got a great group of people that can help evaluate what those decisions need to be. And I trust implicitly in our board. And a lot of this gets to be, you know what? I don't know if I'm the chief decision-making officer. I think my job is to help to be able to support these people make the best decisions for their roles.
Yeah.
So I don't know of a grand thing that I have to make a decision on right now. And that is actually a testament to how strong this organization is.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's not dodging, damn it.
Yeah.
I actually, if you need a decision made, I can make a decision.
Well, I think, unique. I think Nashville has a unique role that EO could play a very good strategic part in to help new entrepreneurs exist, ones that have been doing it for a while to become more integrated with the community. Because, I think Nashville in some regard, I used to do a lot of business with other chambers of commerces throughout many states, and it was a different experience in other chambers.
In what way?
Well, other chambers of commerce were very loving on new stores that I would open, doing grand openings, and like really getting us included in the community. And I think this is changing with the Chamber of Commerce, but the Chamber of Commerce has always been more geared toward corporate.
Yeah.
And holding on to it makes sense, right? They're looking for the bigger players. They're trying to recruit to come in here. And that's added a lot of new, corporate, headquarters development, those kind of things. But that has been their focus. And a lot of the smaller entrepreneurs, they'll find themselves at the EC, and that's just great.
Yeah.
And then I think adding the power of our network along with the chamber now, I think there's a lot of opportunities for
I agree. And I think there's other organizations that can help. So, we want our membership to look like we want our membership to look like the business community in Nashville. We continue to work to try to outreach to other diverse community members to become EO members. I think one of the ways that we can do that is just go attend more meetings and talk to more people and do more Catalyst preview events and participate more in our community. I think some of these things they'll happen. And that's on us, not just board members, but we're going to recruit as many people in EO as we can to just go be out there in the community and tell that EO story.
Help with this because a lot of people will hear this and like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm in Nashville. So one of our conditions to become an EO member is you have to have a business that does $1 million+ in revenue.
Yep.
And just maybe talk a little bit about what the form experience is for someone's just now hearing about this, what EO is, and maybe what are some alternatives is, let's say an entrepreneur is not at that level.
So the EO experience, in my experience, is saying the words "in my experience." It is not giving people advice. It's not telling them what to do with their business. It's being able to share. And it's being able to provide some relief, may not be the right word, but to provide business ownership is lonely. And EO can help provide that support for someone running and growing a business. And we do have, it's $1 million. You need to be $1 million business to be part of this. And there's a reason, because that's a kind of a common bond between all of us. If you're not there yet, there are some great accelerator programs that are out there. Like, I believe In-Flight at the EC is, I think, $250,000. And I think there are some options for some formative businesses for the Entrepreneur Center as well. There are other organizations that have a lower membership requirement, but most important, The universities have accelerator programs or learning programs for how to form your business, how to take those initial steps, how to grow to get those initial customers in. And, Catalyst is our program that's $250,000 to $1 million. Let us get some world-class Michael Burcham and Matt Charette, content that helps you basically get an MBA in 12 months.
Yeah.
And these are amazing things that not only we, but other people offer. But everything from, hey, I've got an idea for a business, and then we can take you from that $250,000 to $1 million, and that gets you to the membership criteria.
Jay, thanks so much for joining. I'm excited to have you as our new boss.
All right. And
lead us through this. This is so exciting.
I got a challenge for you as well. I want you to keep collecting those great member stories about how the EO has brought value to them. And we're going to package some of this up because a lot of people, you get in the grind, you're doing your business every day, you get the blinders on, as you said. We all need to remember.
Dude, and a special thank you to you because, the fall of 2020, I'm watching literally my business fall apart. I fell off of Google due to a merger that happened that was beyond my control. And you were an expert. I brought you in and you basically, he told me, you're getting screwed.
Yeah.
But it was good to have a professional walk me through what my options were, what I could do, what I couldn't do. And, I couldn't have got that if I was all by myself because nobody I knew would have had that experience. But EO came forward and that all started with a simple email out to the chapter. Hey, I'm needing help. And you rose to the occasion.
And that's what we're all here for. I mean, my least favorite time and my most favorite time of EO, which is a horrible thing to say, was how we were all there for each other during COVID. I mean, my wife and I were watching our business go to zero. Yeah. And if it weren't for the support and love we had of this community, we may not have made it. And that story is over and over and over and over again. So part of this is being here for each other when the times are hard, not just when they're good.
Yeah. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you.
Listen, if you're in Nashville, Tennessee, and you're an entrepreneur and you don't like doing it all alone, there is a community of over 350 other driven entrepreneurs navigating life and business, and we're all making important decisions. And you can join our community and be involved in an 8-person forum experience that meets every single month. And we have a structure to help you go to this next level in your life and in your business. If this is of interest to you, you can visit eonashville.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Decision Podcast by Nashville EO. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.